There's a question on for geomatics, do you need a special type of drone? Now, not necessarily. So surprisingly, you can actually pick a standard Mavic 2 Pro or even a standard Phantom 4 without the RTK module. You just need to get the ground control points to basically, so you still need some kind of a GPS station, which comes down, going back to our integration of the industry. So that's the key part. You can buy a $3,000 drone unit, especially if you are a surveyor or if you are an engineer or working with an engineering firm. They already have GPS stations on hand. So with a drone that's $3,000, you can collect the data and you can simply take your existing GPS station to capture the ground control points and introduce them in post-processing to basically correct the data. So you don't necessarily need the RTK drone to capture or to do a construction or industrial survey. To have the RTK or RTN modules, what's good about them? One is it saves you in workflow. So it's easier. You don't have to set up each ground control points in order to capture the data. And two is it creates a safety, additional safety layer. So if you lose GPS from the sky, if you have, let's say, high KP index, if you have a super overcast day, if you don't have enough satellites from the sky, then you still have the RTK module on the ground, basically providing you with that additional layer of information. So again, it's not so much about what equipment you use, it's more about whether or not you have the knowledge on how to use them, because you also have to work with a set of survey software. So when the drone comes back, it's collecting raw data of the land. Now, question comes down to how to process the raw data and how to analyze that to make decisions. Those are all important parts of the drone survey. Take our Intro to Drone Survey course, for example. The first thing we discuss is drone survey is the wrong term. And surveyors actually hate when drone pilots come in and says, look, I can do drone survey. Because technically speaking, legal survey is a certification process that can only be certified by, let's say, Ontario Land Surveyor. So it can only be certified by professionals with that designation. Now, what does the drone do in the survey process? We just collect data. So in other words, drone survey is more about drone data collecting. Once the data comes back, like I said, you have to run through the process of data processing, data analytics, and decision-making. Those are the real important steps. So keep that in mind. From the business perspective, a lot of drone owners are providing the drone survey business, but they're providing that service to, let's say, construction company, to engineers that already have the workflow of processing the data and analyzing the data. What they're lacking is the manpower and the efficiency to go collect the data. So a big part of offering drone service in the industrial sector is coming and offering a solution to say, look, I have an efficient way of going to collect accurate data for you. And now you can take that data that's compatible with your survey or engineering software. Now you can process that data. So it's saving you the time in doing the legwork. For the survey industry, it's very high automation. Let's just go back to our initial survey image right here. Now looking at here, this is typically when you're planning for a survey mission. Instead of flying manually on the sticks, what you do is you draw the polygon for the map. And a lot of people like to do this before they go on site. They like to do this actually on the computer to do their mission planning. They draw the polygon, which outlines the area they would like to survey. And then on the right-hand side, what you're seeing is the actual flight path of the drone. So it's doing basically the grid pattern to capture images at preset interval from a preset altitude. And those images are collected with GPS coordinates. So they're coming back and being stitched in the computer and being processed with geomatics data. In other words, for the construction industry, it's very high automation because we can't manually fly with that precision to cover a specific area of land. What we're looking at is it's mostly people planning that mission, going on site, press the start button, and the drone goes and does the mission automated. On that note, there's a big difference I want to mention between autonomous and automated, because those two words, I mean, a lot of times people like to use the word autonomous, especially from solution providers. But legally speaking, autonomous is when you require the additional permission from Transport Canada. Autonomous means this is a beyond visual line of sight operation. It's when the pilot doesn't get interfered with the operation. The pilot sits, for example, in the equipment trailer, in a site trailer, looks at big monitors and see multiple drones on site collecting the data and automatically coming back. Those are autonomous operations. Automated can be exactly the same mission. Now, instead of the pilot sitting in the site trailer, the pilot is standing outside on the site. And they're pressing the start button. They're standing there to still maintain visual line of sight of the drone and see the drone to basically go around the site, collect the data. They have the ability to cancel the mission, to have the drone whether automatically return to home or manually take over the mission if they require. So when everything goes well, it can be exactly the same mission. But now it's automated because the pilot is maintaining visual line of sight and having the ability to overtake the mission when required. And that's completely legal. You can do that with your advanced pilot certificate. You don't need additional permission from Transport Canada. That's why there's the big difference between autonomous and automated. It's really coming down to legal requirements. Are you in the beyond visual line of sight category, or are you still in the regular advanced drone operations visual line of sight category? So keep that in mind.